When you have enough time doing research for Nutmeg's videos, you cannot help but stumble upon images that are a bit too, how can I say this, uncomfortable. And you're about to find out why this kind of attitudes feel so out of place and even creepy in most situations. Welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and it would be great if you join us by just liking this video, subscribing, and hitting that bell. Let's get down to it. We have a lot of ways to communicate feelings. We have words, we have body language, and plenty other signals to connect with other people, depending on the circumstances. But there's little doubt that touching is one of the most intense ways to convey an emotion or generate a connection with someone. Now, we live in a reality that is rather inflexible in one regard. Most people don't like to be touched, or much less grinded like this, and that's pretty common. But this, in fact, has an angle. A better definition. It's not that most of us don't like to be touched, but instead it's about how much can we tolerate when someone invades our personal and intimate space without permission. Well, it's common sense that to touch someone you need to be near them, at least at what is called personal distance. And this is a fundamental part of proxemics, which is the study of how space is used in human interactions. So we first need to take a quick look at the 4 different types of space, or zones, that separate us from the person we are interacting at any given moment. We've got public space that is more than 4 meters or 13 feet. Next is social space, which is between 1 meter or 3 feet. Then we have personal space, which is 50 centimeters or 20 inches. And finally, intimate space, which goes from the edge of personal space all the way to our own bodies. So to reach out and touch someone, you should stand at the edge of their personal space or even inside their intimate space. But there's a problem with this. And it has to do with the fact that you watch Nutmeg's photos and can't help but feel cringe. Your mirror neurons, which are brain neurons closely related to perception, are replicating the feeling of whatever you are seeing. In other words, your brain is making a simulation of what would you feel if the Duchess went straight to hug you, cheek to cheek. And this feels uncomfortable because it is a complete invasion of your intimate space. Invasion is the right word, just because there has to exist trust with the person that you let get so close to you. This is a survival mechanism. I've mentioned in other times the concepts of empathy, rapport, and trust. You need to build empathy. You have to build trust with someone before you let them get so close to you. It's a reality even with animals. Those who tame wild animals know that you need to have the creature get used to your smell, proximity, and behavior to help them build trust so you can have the implicit permission to get closer to them. If you or an animal hasn't given this permission to get closer, there's going to be a sudden burst of stress hormones inside the body. No matter how civilized we are, this is an automatic survival response. If we are not sure about the other person's intentions and they just get close to us, there's going to be a stress reaction. Now, I guess that if you have been watching my videos, you must have serious trust issues towards our glorious Duchess of Sussex. And just by being exposed at such an event with another person triggers the stress reaction in you. But this is you and your mirror neurons thinking that you're receiving the action. What about the person that does this? What about the person that dares to dance dry tango with you? Well, if most people have a problem with being touched or being approached like this in such an intimate manner, then it can only mean that the person who does this is tone deaf or simply lack social skills to grasp what does it mean to get closer to someone without permission. This is not like they are innocent about it, because it can happen that someone could do it just to elicit a response, just to watch your reaction or make you feel uncomfortable on purpose. And this can get really messy really quickly, especially with moments like this one. This was Meghan visiting an East London school, and this teenager was finishing his speech about International Women's Day. She was heavily criticized by the way she clung onto him, and the ironic part of the story is that it was the kid who later apologized to Harry for such a hug. But it was Meghan the one who started the gesture. He's a kid. He was going for a high five or something when she just threw her hands in the air. Now you know why you feel this gesture inappropriate or uncomfortable. And to be fair, we already know that royals hugging teenagers is something that never ends well. But it's not like it's okay to do it with grown-ups either. For example, this is Max Azria, who was hosting a fashion week together with his wife, and they were at the after party. There are reports that she did not fancy this woman getting so close to her husband. I really wonder why. And there were these two pictures of Meghan playing at the celebrity flag football, and she's hugging Michael B. Jordan like they have just saved planet Earth from an alien invasion. Not to mention that photo she took with some friends and their tour guide when she was just 15 years old and went on a trip to Europe. Now, I understand that they wanted to stay close for the photo, but was it really necessary to grab his arm like that? This is the kind of things you should learn at home. So it was no different when years later she met people like Larry King and you notice the same pattern, the same invasion of intimate space. But you know who was the one whose space she really wanted to invade? This attitude looks a lot like the love bombing that narcissists use all the time at the beginning of our relationship. Any kind of relationship, even professional ones. When you see this kind of gestures, your alarms will go off because you notice that it's not a natural gesture but a forced one. Something that does not happen unless the two people share a lot of trust and feel comfortable with each other. It's like this photo from her college graduation. You might think that this man was her date or something, but according to the Daily Mail, he was the maître d' of a bar during their night out. This doesn't look like a picture between strangers at all. In fact, the man was a bit uncomfortable for two reasons. He did not have a genuine smile, and his hands, especially the left one, had the fingers curled almost into a fist. He was not relaxed. That's why it's so important to spot the body language of everyone, or at least of the people engaged in the interaction. At first, maybe you'll miss most of these dynamics, but as you keep looking and focusing on the small details, you'll notice that the bodies of people almost never hide their emotions. Of course, there are going to be moments when you see two people engage in this kind of gestures and you see both of them relax. That is a great way to know the degree of trust they have with each other. With practice, you'll start to see how these patterns come and go and how relationships between people change over time. Not only that, but that's something you can be aware about yourself. Sometimes our behavior and feelings towards people change, and it's possible that we don't notice it, as it can be a very slow change. But paying attention to your own body language and reactions with the gestures of others can give you real insights about your true feelings towards them. And that's a tool that can be extremely useful. If you want to refine your observation skills, all you have to do is download my 100 body language tips right in the description of this video. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas and it will always be a pleasure, my body language buddies. Much love and bliss.